regular meeting to order. Recording of the roll.
Rayner and Powers are excused, Lintonik is absent, all others are present, and ex officio member Semo is excused.
Consider approval of the March 3rd regular meeting minutes. Any additions or corrections?
Motion to approve.
I had perhaps one correction in paragraph one on the bottom.
On the first page?
First page, yeah.
Okay.
It states it was noted that the area was zoned R2 when OB project was in the plan.
Yeah.
That was a question, and we don't know it.
Oh, that's
okay.
what.
Where is this?
Okay.
Okay, so you mean Johnson questioned whether rezoning of this area to C3 from R2 was illegal because of process. That was the question?
No, that next one. It was noted that the area was zoned R2 when that was a question. We don't know for sure if
That's
it was.
the question. Is it R2 or
is it R2 or
R3? So or C3?
Okay.
So it shouldn't say it was noted that the area was zoned R2.
Is it R2 or R3?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll reword that sentence.
Okay. Nothing else. Then I'll second your motion with the correction.
All right.
Addition.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, thank you. Let's move on to approval of the docket. I don't have any actual changes to this, so it's here as presented. Motion, gentlemen?
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
Cortland, seconded by Mr. Johnson. We're all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Citizens wishing to address the commission on addenda items, 3-minute limit. Anybody?
The Saris are here for item 8.
For item 8?
Yes.
Well, right now we just want to find out what's going to happen with
Yeah.
the property until you do discussion.
In case you wanted to speak, you can speak under that item if you want.
Okay, after you talk about it?
Well, you can.
Or no? Because
you can say it right now. It says citizens wishing to address them. So
well,
go ahead.
the issue is I don't know until you decide what you're going to do. It's kind of hard for me to decide that.
Okay. If you want to reserve, then that's fine. Yeah. Anybody else? Okay. Old business, update on draft access management ordinance amendments. Did you guys get a chance to kind of go through? You have some notes?
I have a couple notes. Mostly they're just questions. So let's see. I think it's on page 5, on number 4. They talk about the highway overlay, and I just was wondering, do we have an existing highway overlay for of the GIS data that we have that Woodward put together? Dennis, do you know if we have an existing overlay, or is that something that's going to have to be created as a result of this ordinance?
I thought they did everything within 1,000 feet of US 2.
Okay, so they do
Yeah,
have
that's
some.
already
right.
done.
That's right, too.
Pretty sure that's
Okay.
already been done.
Okay.
That's what that new, there's a new photograph someplace. Not the Tri-Media, but there's another one that kind of
Okay.
GIS mapping.
Okay. And then most of my questions were mostly surrounded around the procedural things, not the detailed stuff about setbacks and things like that. I mean, that I'm assuming I read through them, but I'm assuming that the DOT were going to kind of rely on their expertise on a lot of the stuff that what they put in here is the way to go.
Well, our ordinance has we have some setbacks that are according to our ordinance, as far as where the building is going to be off the highway.
Okay.
So I guess the only difference would be is if they change the change the
They
code.
should almost be identical. Match them up.
Yeah.
And then let's see.
Which page was that?
That was on. Am I looking at? Maybe I hope I'm not looking at an old one. On page 5.
Okay.
Number 4 is where I wrote
no
it.
Building or structure.
I actually wrote it next to number 4, but maybe it was I just wrote it in the margin, so it might not necessarily be applying directly. It was just talked about the highway
Yep.
overlay district there. So, or this section talked about the overlay district. Then.
Are we going to get a copy of that?
You should have. You got it?
Of the,
Overlay?
oh, we won't actually
Oh.
see a copy of that. It'll be in our,
Until,
until I'm assuming the GIS stuff is available.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess one of my other questions was that on page 8 where they talk about the review and the approval process, what I got from this, and just correct me if I'm wrong, when somebody puts in an application for a project along the highway for, a design project, does it have to go through approval of all, basically the county, the city of Ironwood, and the DOT, all three, before it can be approved, an approved plan, even if it's within the city limits?
Basically, right now, in the review and approval process, we had set this team up, which consists of members from all these different parties.
Okay.
It's brought in front of them and then kind of weighed out, and all the pushing and shoving gets done in that group. And then I think the last is just, it's a formality and an okay on each one. But this review group is set up to actually air what concerns and, things are.
But I mean, just like, let's say somebody's coming in for a project, like
Mhm.
just an individual project. Do they have to go through all three?
They go through this review thing.
They go, so there's going to be like a new committee basically
Yeah,
that's
there is.
dedicated.
It is formed, and this is what this access management plan is actually going to help that committee work within this whole range.
Okay, so basically they'll go to that committee, and that committee will basically be the voice for the three different.
That's what I understand.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Okay.
could. I don't think I'm
shouldn't the
wrong.
ordinance address that then?
Well, I think it does. That's
They
where
were
I was.
talking a procedure for
Yep, they were
policy.
talking about that.
Because kind of the way that it was written, it seemed like, well, they would come to the planning commission, and then they'd have to go to the county, or they'd start at the
Well, each
DOT,
one,
go to the county,
I
then the
think,
planning
I think
commission.
what happens is it gets pounded out on that first one, because I was there for one of the projects, which was Karuga trying to gain his access off the highway and how he wanted to set up his traffic flow. That was for the city of Wakefield, and their representatives and us, we were on it, and the Bessemer people and everybody, and we pounded that all out, and then that gained it. Now, once he was done with that, and he had the basic permission to do what he was going to do, then you go and you sign off on all of it.
Okay.
But that group is the group that you basically, that's the sounding board.
Okay, so when people come in and they start, and they want a new project, they're going to go through
Yeah,
them?
and MDOT is trying to help us coordinate so that when we have a new business come in, it's not so hard for them, they have a place to sound off and tell, how they want their access and everything, and so that everybody kind of gets a feel for it, and then they can relay to them the ordinance and how it's supposed to be set up, so that they don't run into a wall in their development or when they're doing their site plan later.
Yeah.
They still have to have their site plan done for the respective area, and that's what it says in here, if the planning commission considers the application or whatever, okay, they still have to do their site plan for that individual area.
Okay.
And we're gonna sign off on it, but if they went here first and they know about what's the criteria for setting up, then when they develop their site plan, it's gonna be correct.
They'll have it all in place?
It's going to be correct.
Okay.
So that they're not going, we're saying, okay, it's okay, and then all of a sudden, here comes MDOT, and MDOT says, whoa, go back to the drawing board, you got to change your site plan, you can't have that like that,
Okay.
So it caused people